Hello and welcome to the Superintendent's Office, a show dedicated to spotlighting the great things happening in the public schools of Robeson County. I'm Tasha Oxendine. Joining us today, we have the new Director of the Public Schools of Robeson County Student Services, Jadell Hawks. Ms. Hawks, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
First of all, what is Student Services for the district?
It's a comprehensive approach for student learning where you have assessment and teaching. You focus on attendance, enrollment, and discipline and counseling services for our students across the county.
And how is that carried out at the school level? I mean, student services sounds very comprehensive, but how is it actually carried out?
It's carried out with our social workers and our school counselors for all the needs that might arise with our students.
And that's a daunting task.
It is.
At the school level, I understand that, this is your first year at the central office. Tell me, what was your previous job?
I worked 10 years as a school counselor at a high school and 2 years as a youth development specialist at another high school. I currently have a master's and I have a postmaster's degree in advanced counseling, and I have my national boards.
That's exciting. We're so excited to have you at the central office. One area that your staff works on is bullying. And that totally encompasses student support, making sure that students feel comfortable, safe, and I'm ready to learn. October is the National Stop Bullying Month, and how important is bullying prevention in your job?
It's extremely important. With Student Support Services, we try to enforce the acceptance, kindness, and inclusion for all students in the school system. And if that's not available for students, then it jeopardizes their learning. So we try to focus on bullying prevention, that we want to have a supportive and safe environment for all our students, and that's our main focus with Student Support Services.
Okay, it's October. What are some of the things that the public schools of Robeson County is going to be doing this month to support anti-bullying efforts coming up?
We are going to hold the Unity Day, October 21st. And Together Against Bullying, everybody across the district is going to wear orange. Our main goal is to try and stop out bullying. So having one day set aside where everybody makes that our main focus and goal, to wear orange. We have also had the superintendent do a proclamation where we're saying and providing clear, concise instructions that it's not going to be accepted across our district. We're going to try and prevent bullying across our school district.
And why is it important to get support such as Superintendent Lowry from the top down to say, we are a district that does not support bullying? Why is it so important to have that from the top down and across the board?
To make sure that you have support from the top reinforces the support in the school systems. So if they know that we're not going to tolerate it at the district level, we're also not going to tolerate it when it comes into the school system.
And what are some other things that you're going to do? This Unity Day looks like it's going to be fun and very inclusive. It's going to be very colorful. And at the school level, how are they actually, will the students be wearing shirts? Will everybody be wearing orange?
Students and all staff will hopefully be wearing orange. We have posters ordered for all the schools that they will post and put at the very front of the school for everybody to come in, community members, parents, guardians, for everybody to know, and the students to join in and have some feedback. Some of the schools have decided to do pumpkin decorating with elementary so they can discuss about when they reinforce stories about Spooky the Pumpkin, talk about how they can stop bullying in their schools. English classes at the high school level said that they were going to incorporate bullying projects in the English classes to talk about poems, or visual arts could do also pictures, videos with the theater classes. So we're incorporating it K through 12 across the district.
That sounds really comprehensive. What are some other things that you're going to be doing? I understand that you also have a campaign called Don't Be a Monster.
Don't Be a Monster, and that's what we're going to, our main theme for the school district this year in October is to make sure that we highlight not being a monster. Be a friend, show kindness, show support. If you see bullying happen, make sure you are proactive in stopping it and trying to make it a better environment for everybody.
Okay. At the school level, what are some things that that they're going to be incorporate? That sounds like it will be a fun way, to tell kids don't be a monster, because bullying can be it can be horrific for children all the way up through high school.
It can. Yeah, targets their social, emotional, and behavioral issues. So PBIS also reinforces that to make sure that they're doing positive behaviors and showing and modeling that across the district with our students.
Okay. Are your counselors trained to respond to bullying issues with students? Is that something that has been incorporated into their training?
Yes, ma'am. As far as programs, we have taken a lot of proactive steps in professional development and seeking out ways that we can educate our staff, all our members that are at the schools, to know how to cite bullying, how to be at the hot spots that they're occurring, and make sure that we are being preventative in all our efforts for bullying.
That sounds very comprehensive. Are there any other activities that you'll be doing during the month of October to stop bullying? Anything else that you guys have going on in the district?
We have various videos and presentations for students, and school counselors and social workers will be working closely with staff, getting an idea of what their school would like to do, asking students how they can incorporate bullying prevention and what kind of activities would be fun for them to try and address the issue this month.
Okay, and will schools be doing their own public service announcements as well?
Yes, ma'am. They will have a lot of announcements going out district-wide about facts and what's going on with the U.S. and bullying and in our school systems.
Okay. Bullying is not a new topic. When you talk to people, people have talked about bullying for hundreds, thousands of years. It's always been around. How has it changed with advances in technology and social media?
It's changed a whole lot, especially with Snapchat and other resources that students are using, that it might not happen, or they might not be able to keep, and the video. With Snapchat, it's something only a couple of seconds, then it might go away, but the lasting impact stays for a long time. So we have to address the issue. And with Facebook and other resources with media, that it's became a big monster and it's hard to control. It needs to be monitored. Parents have to monitor. Schools have to monitor what's going on to try and reinforce the positive that can come out of it. And there is a lot of negatives, so you have to be really proactive in trying to make sure that you monitor what's going on, because it's a beast out there to try and keep it under control.
And there have been some legislative changes nationally as well. Are those things that your counselors take into effect and consideration when students come in and say, well, little Johnny over there in the classes, he's bullying me, or he says, if I don't do his homework or whatever, those new legislative things that were put in place by government officials, are those things that your counselors are looking at as well?
They are. They're very versed on making sure that they're up to date on what's going on with the legislation, and making sure that they are aware of what the rules and the laws change frequently, so they're making sure they're very versed on what's going on so they can address issues at the school when they do come up.
What about in the classroom itself? Mm-hmm. Are our educators also, I don't know that there's time for additional training, but is there anything in place that our educators, from the principal down, that they have there? Say, for instance, a child comes and says something unusual, something that doesn't look like bullying. Is there something that, or how does it spin out from a report by a child saying, that I've been bullied? How does that actually, travel up the chain as far as getting to your counselors and that child getting support?
Sometimes kids can do anonymous bullying reporting, and they can provide that to, they can have the box in the library, at the front office, they can have it in the counselor's room where they can go and put the anonymous bullying report in there. Counselors can get it and provide it to the principals and school administration, or also the parents could come in sometimes and report the bullying that's going on. So there's various ways that they could get notification what's going on in the school, as far as the teachers can be notified, and they can do the anonymous bullying reporting, or they could come in and report it themselves, or sometimes friends come in and report what's going on and what's being seen in the schools.
And what should parents know to help their children to handle or to fight bullying? I know sometimes parents, they don't know. I hear parents say, well, I knew that he was acting different, mm-hmm. not as talkative, or she, seemed a little hesitant, or, what should parents be looking for? What should they know?
Changes in mood, or things that could be going on that could be a change in their normalcy that they are doing every day on a daily basis. And also, like I said, monitoring what's going on with the phone or the Facebook, computer, any kind of media access that they have. Knowing the signs of their child, if they're sleeping more, if they're having more absences to school, if they're having more referrals to discipline issues that are going on as well. So just being really cognizant of how the changes could be happening with their children.
And bullying can happen anywhere.
It can. It can happen in the hallways. It can happen in the bathrooms. Happen in the cafeteria. There's all kinds of on the buses. There's all different kind of areas where bullying does occur.
And you talked with us about how students can report. So if a parent is out there and they want to remain anonymous, you know, how without giving away a whole lot, how does someone normally, does the principal and the counselors go in and talk to students without giving away a whole lot of what the counselors are doing, but how do they effectively reach out to, like, say, for instance, you know, you're helping a child that's been bullied, but is there also the opposite side of it where they're helping the bullies as well? Yes,
going in the classrooms and doing classroom guidance with everybody. If a report of bullying is coming up and it might be in a certain area in the classrooms or on the buses, then they could do a district or school-wide bullying effort to try and resolve the issues, incorporating PBIS with behavioral issues and how they can be proactive and positive in addressing those issues is a good way of helping and assisting as well.
Okay, well, we're almost out of time, but I understand there's some resources. Tell us a little bit about some of the resources that are available on websites.
We have bully prevention in pbis.org. We also have stopbullying.gov, dosomething.org. National Crime Prevention Council website is another resource for parents, and the Pacers National Bully Prevention Center is a good resource. It has videos and clips as well as coloring books and items. All right, and thank you for joining us today. Today with us was Jadell Hawks, the new Director of Student Services for the school district. Thank you for coming on the show to talk about anti-bullying efforts. Joining us up next is Raymond Cummings, and he's going to be talking about transportation. Stay with us.
I travel a lot in North Carolina. My weekends take me from Raleigh to Charlotte and everywhere in between. That's why I take the train whenever I can. With the train, I don't have to fill up the gas tank. I don't have to sit in traffic all day. I get to the station, grab my ticket, and go. It's that easy. I load up, I sit back, and I let someone else do all the work. I can talk to my friends, sketch, work on my website, or take a nap if I want to. It's simple, stress-free, and that works.
License and registration, please, sir.
When you drink, plan ahead to make at least one good decision. If you drink, don't drive.
Life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Oh, this must be super embarrassing. Let me get that terrible driver I just got pulled over look. Wait, click. Perfect.
Whether you're a driver or a passenger, you're required by law to buckle up or face a fine up to $161. Click it or ticket. Every seat, every time.
Welcome back to the Superintendent's Office, a show dedicated to spotlighting the great things happening in the public schools of Robeson County. Again, I'm Tasha Oxenine. Joining us now, we have Raymond Cummings, the Director for Transportation for the public schools of Robeson County. Mr. Raymond, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
A new school year is upon us, and it's the first year across the school district. And I know right now schools are working to make sure that they educate children as well as do core curriculum. What are some of the things that happen during that first month you know, across the district?
Well, we always try to encourage each school, each bus driver to have an emergency evacuation drill. That's required in the first 10 days of school. And so it's a time to make sure that if anything happens on the bus that requires them to evacuate, then they're prepared to do that. And so we like to see that done within the first 15 days of school. That's one of the things. And of course, we meet with the bus coordinators, we meet with the principals, as well as each bus driver, and talk about general areas of concern dealing with bus safety.
Okay. First of all, how many children is the school district transporting across the public schools of Robeson County every day?
Each day we transport approximately 14,500 students on a given day.
That's a lot of students.
That's a lot of students.
A lot of students and a lot of buses out there. And it is the safest form of travel in the nation.
Statistically, the U.S. statistics indicate that it's the safest mode of transportation that we have. And so the issue we have with safety with the school bus is that danger zone of about 15 feet around the school bus. You know, if we can get kids on the bus, they're safe, because those buses are built to strict standards, and they're very safe once they're on the bus.
Yeah.
So we have an issue trying to make sure that the motoring public stops and travels a safe distance away from the bus. And so, but that's the safest mode of transportation.
Yeah, once you get them on the bus. I was in Raleigh just a couple of weeks ago, and State Superintendent June Atkinson met with us, and they had a video of, you know, just happened, where it showed 3 students walking across the road, and as soon as they got across the road, there was a truck came around the bus and skidded right where they had just crossed. And you know, it was just really just horrifying to think about, you know, what's going on there at the bus stop that you don't notice.
Well, that's why the buses are painted the color they're painted. You know, they've done a lot of research to determine that that's the optimal color of a bus, that it should be to garner as much attention as possible. And plus all the lighting that goes on, you would think we wouldn't have this issue.
Yeah.
But nationally, they say that 1 bus per day has an incident where they're passed illegally by a car.
Wow.
One bus per day, so that's a lot. We have 270 buses in our school system traveling approximately 15,000 miles per day. So that's a lot of.
That's a lot of travel for one county, a lot of kids. And I understand with, you know, so many changes, you know, with so many people, you know, there's been a number of accidents, not in our county, but around the nation. There are changes coming for the state of North Carolina with new crossing procedures. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it's a new initiative that has just begun, and it'll kick off officially January 2016. And we have encouraged the bus drivers, we've talked to them about it, and we've talked with the principals about it. And we encourage the folks at the school level and the motoring public as well to go to our website, the state website, northcarolinaSchoolBusSafety.org. And there's a couple of videos that you can view there. One's tailored to the bus driver and the procedures they'll go through, and the other is to educate the students as to the signals. And essentially, it means that when the bus is stopped, of course, they'll put on their signage, 300 feet out, they'll put on their yellow flashing lights. And when they come to the stop, they'll put on their red lights. All that's standard procedure now. The new procedure is that once the kids are stopped, and before they cross, the bus driver will give them a halt sign for the most part, hand straight up, you know. So
they have to make contact with that bus driver.
Eye contact. And then the bus driver will look to make sure that the traffic has all stopped. And then when the traffic has stopped, then the bus driver will give them a thumbs up. It's all clear. And then the next signal is a crossing signal.
Wow.
Thumb and forefinger, and the students will cross the street safely. And in the afternoon, when they get off the bus, the same procedure applies. They've stopped the bus. The bus driver will look both ways to make sure it's all clear. And then they'll, halt, the clear sign, and then the crossing signal with the thumb up again, forefinger pointing in the direction to cross.
It seems very elementary. Seems very simple. So obviously, it's another layer of protection there.
It's an additional layer of protection and bringing more attention to the students to take their signals from the driver Even though we have all the procedures, all the cautionary things out with the lights and all that sort of thing. But it's just an added layer of protection that we feel is important to continue to have safety for the students.
And so you'll have this training going on at the schools.
Mm-hmm.
Will the bus drivers be talking with the students about it as well?
That's our concern, is that we've met with the bus drivers, and we've given them some information about this, and so now we'll be training them almost monthly about the issue of these new procedures. And so we'll communicate with them by letter, and we'll have another meeting in November. We'll have a meeting with the principals and bus coordinators, and we like to see the bus drivers talk with their students about it as frequently as they can before January gets here. And so come January 1st, 2016, we'll be able to kick off this new procedures, and everybody will be fully aware.
Okay, will there be notes going home to the parents so that those parents can also be training and helping? Because I know, it's a new school year. For every new school year, there might be little 5-year-olds that they've never ridden a bus before.
We'll be sending out a barrage of communication to try to make sure everybody's aware of it. We wrote a grant last year, a $10,000 grant, and we have what we call Buster to Bus, Bus to the School Bus. It's another training aid that we use to educate the elementary children about school bus safety. And it's an operational bus, about 2.5, 3 feet tall and about 4 feet long. And it has the crossing arms, and you can talk through it as well. So it's a good training aid to have at school assemblies, and our Department of the Motor Vehicles person will schedule those at the various schools and have a lot of fun and have a lot of quality training going on as the deadline gets closer to educate the students about the new procedures.
And I understand, school buses are out every day, and motorists are still having problems with obeying laws around buses which are stopped where there are divided lines. I mean, this is another issue. What are some things that are going on, and what exactly is the law?
Well, and this is an ongoing issue that we try to educate the public about. All traffic in both directions must stop. If the bus is stopped, all traffic must stop, unless you have a dividing medium, a separation of the 4 lanes with a medium. And if it's 2 lanes north, 2 lanes south, and there's a divider in the center, it's a separation, then that traffic in the opposite lane does not have to stop. All the traffic behind the bus must stop. And so, to make a long story short, that's the I guess the best way to explain it. That if you're behind that bus, and unless there's a separation of the 2 lanes, you must stop.
Okay. And so we're here at UNCP. Right here we've got, I guess this is a 4 or 5 with turning lanes.
Over in front of the Burger King, you see. There's 2 lanes of traffic going both directions, separated by a turning lane. And so that lane must stop. All traffic must stop.
Okay. And what are some of the penalties,
It carries a 5-point penalty. If you are cited with that moving violation, it's the highest, I understand it's the highest point value that the insurance companies carry. It's a 5-point assessment against your license.
That's pretty stiff.
That's pretty stiff.
And I know last year there was at least one time a month that you all have law enforcement is out checking the buses and seeing just how many motorists in one day are passing buses. Has that taken place this year? And how did Robeson County, how did the residents handle that last year? Were people responsive and not passing school buses? Or how's it looking, across the district overall?
Well, some of our higher traffic areas, Highway 41, the 211, we have more problems on those lanes, 74, 211, 41. Those seem to be, folks get a little impatient, and because there's not a lot of area to pass school buses. And so we have communication with the Highway Patrol to monitor those areas. We haven't had a lot of calls this year, so I think they're doing better. We haven't had many calls about it, so I'm just assuming that they're doing a lot better.
That's a good thing. Fall is here. Time is changing. It's darker in the mornings, and it's getting darker earlier in the afternoon. What are some tips to give motorists to be safe with the buses?
Always travel at a safe distance. Those buses make frequent stops, And they put their warning lights out, amber lights, 300 feet before each stop. And so that should be enough time to alert following traffic that, need to slow down. But social media is so prevalent. Folks are using cell phones in a lot of occasions. And so it's very dangerous. Mm-hmm. So travel at a safe distance because our buses make a lot of stops. And as daylight savings time approaches, we're going to be on the road after dark. And so just beware. We're carrying precious cargo and to travel at a safe distance.
Are there any areas, you talked about the state troopers being out,
Mm-hmm.
And law enforcement checking. Is there ever a time that in certain routes that you have a monitor that's actually riding along monitoring if there's a problem or whatever?
Occasionally we do have monitors on our normal school bus routes occasionally. All our special needs buses all have monitors, but sometime on our other buses we'll have monitors, but it's not often.
Okay.
Unless it's an unusual situation.
And we talked about for the motorists, as it's getting darker in the morning and afternoon. What about for parents? What's something that parents can do? They're already doing the train and you're going to be sending things home. What is an additional? Is there anything else that you could tell parents who are out there, on the way to work? I see parents sitting in cars and their kids are sitting there by the roadway. And I had to take my son to an appointment last week at early in the morning. It was dark. Kids are on the road. What's something that you could tell parents?
Well, it's always a great idea to stand back from the highway a safe distance, 10, 15 feet, whatever you think is safe there. But I'd stand back from the highway. Light colored clothes in the darker mornings, is always a added bonus. If you can be there with your child, that'd be great. So things like that help promote safety more so. Be at the school bus on time or just a few minutes before, and stand at a safe distance. Stand back from the road at a safe distance.
And so tell us once again, when will the new changes be going into place for the new? Is it crossing hand signals?
Well, they call it the new school bus driver bus procedures. And so January 2016.
So we've got a few months. It's just around the corner, but that'll be plenty of time.
We've sent out several communications to the school systems already to access the websites, and so we can educate the drivers and our employees. And we want to make sure that the students are well informed and the motoring public before January.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today, Mr. Raymond. Student safety is always paramount. Joining us today, we had Mr. Raymond Cummings. He is the Director of Transportation for the Public Schools of Robeson County. And we thank you for coming on the show. And with 24,000 talented children, there's always something going on in our school district. Please be sure to follow us on the web for news from each school and in the Aware magazine, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter for daily updates for events. And if the opportunity arises for you to read to a child, please do so. You never know the difference that it will make. Thank you and have a great week.